The movie starts when Zach and his widowed mom, Gail, move from New York to their new home in Madison, Delaware, where she will be the vice principal of the local high school. Gail's sister, Auntie Lorraine, visits them with a new hat for Zach, and he later meets his new neighbor, Hannah, whose dad isn't so happy to meet him. The following day, Zach and her mom go to their new school, where Zach meets a new friend, Champ, and they schedule to go to a party, while the principal introduces the new vice principal, Miss Cooper. Zach and Hannah meet later, and she explains how she is homeschooled by her dad, who doesn't really like anyone. Hannah then takes him to her only fun activity, an abandoned playground park in the woods, where they dilly-dally and later head home. Hannah's dad meets them outside and warns Zach to stay away or something bad will happen. Later in the night, Zach hears Hannah's dad scorning her over meeting with Zach, while she screams as if being hurt, and Zach runs to their house to check. Hannah's dad, however, brushes off his concerns, but Zach, concerned about the abuse, reports to the cops, who later show up at Hannah's door. The cops ask about the screams, but he shows them screaming sounds, which he plays on the TV, and the cops brush off the case, claiming Zach could be on drugs. Later, Auntie Lorraine moves in to sit Zach since his mom will be busy at school, and while she narrates her stories, Zach again sees shadows arguing in Hannah's house and thinks Hannah's dad is abusive, and so he sneaks outside. There he meets his school friend Zach, who he called for help with the psychopath dad case. After Hannah's dad leaves, they sneak into Hannah's house. Inside the basement, they find bear traps and they head upstairs into a mysterious room, where they find storybooks with locks, including the Goosebumps manuscript, written by R.L. Stine, who Champ says disappeared. Zach finds a key around and unlocks a book, but Hannah walks in on them. Zach says he thought she was in danger by the screams he heard, but Hannah asks them to leave after noticing they unlocked a book. Zach then mistakenly opens up the book, and a giant monster, the abominable snowman, comes out of the book, roars loudly, and breaks out the house. They chase him down the streets, and Hannah tries to trap it with the book but fails. Snowman is about to defeat them, but Hannah's dad arrives just in time to trap the monster in the book. In the car, he scorns the kids for not listening and staying away. But Zach then finds out that he is actually R.L. Stine, a famous writer of horror stories. They arrive and Stine asks her daughter to pack since now they have to move again, though Hannah prefers living a normal life. Zach then asks Stine to explain what is happening, and Stine explains how he suffered allergies alone indoors, and so he created monster friends to terrorize his neighborhood bullies. However, the monsters became real and leapt out of the pages, and so he keeps the books locked. While Stine is packing his books, he notices that another book is opened, probably knocked by Snowman, and Slappy the dummy appears to his friend Stine and burns his book to prevent being captured. Later, Slappy releases the monsters from the remaining books to terrorize the town, including some gnomes who attack Stine and the rest. They run out through the basement and lock the door, and Zach wishes Stine could have written about friendlier unicorns. Meanwhile, Slappy continues to release monsters, causing chaos and freezing everyone in town, including the cops, and a flying dog attacks Auntie Lorraine while Stine and the rest roam around. Zach then suggests that Stine should rewrite a single storybook to capture the monsters, and Stine fetches his special typewriter, which he keeps at the high school. On the road, they are attacked by an invisible boy and a giant mantis, and they escape into a supermarket where they meet a monster werewolf which chases after them, but Lorraine hits it with her car, and she also meets Stine. They send her to bring the cops while they continue to the high school, passing through the cemetery while Champ tells Stine of how his athletic parents named him Champion. Later, while Zach is with Hannah, the moonlight shines on Hannah, and Zach notices that she actually disappears in the light, but they have to hurry out when attacked by ghouls. Auntie Lorraine arrives at the police station for help, but meets with Sergeant Slappy and gets frozen by the monsters. Meanwhile, the team arrives at school, but Zach confronts Stine for not telling Hannah that she is his creation too, which he wrote for her to be real to alleviate his loneliness. Stine finds the typewriter and heads to write the story alone, while the others head to warn the school. They find everyone at the dance and warn them about the invading monsters, But they joke about it, so a giant mantis snatches one of them and they are all tense. Outside, Slappy arrives with a battalion of gnomes and orders them to release more monsters. And Zack asks the crowd to help buy more time while Stine writes his story. The monsters attack the school and Champ even saves a girl from a werewolf and earns a kiss. Slappy later tries to stop Stine from finishing his story, but Hannah and Zack help him and they leave with the book. Now, with the whole school crowded together, they use a different bus to lure them away and blow them up while the four escape in a different one. They find a safe house to continue the story, but Slappy finds them and unleashes another monster, the blob that ate everyone. They run and Stine asks Zack to finish the story while he stays and gets grabbed by the blob. Slappy mocks him but realizes that Stine doesn't have the book and sends the monsters after it. Zack then finishes the story, but the mantis wrecks the wheel they sit on and it rolls away. When they land, Zack reveals to Hannah that she too is unreal and will be trapped into the book, but Hannah is already aware of her situation. Zack refuses to open the book, but Hannah does, and a whirlwind swallows up all the monsters, including Hannah, and Champ closes the book, and everything becomes orderly. The following day, Zack's mom takes him to school, and this time, they go in together, while Stine and Lorraine also go together. Mr. R.L. Stine now comes in as their new English teacher, and later he and Zack talk about how they miss Hannah. Stine then brings back Hannah after writing a book about her, and she embraces Zack while Stine burns the book away. The two then leave together, and Stine surprisingly finds the invisible boy typing his revenge story on the typewriter, and he tells Stine that he forgot about him, bringing the thrilling film to an end. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our channel. I'll be back with another interesting movie recap. Until then, take care.